Now, I've got another uncle. Now, his name is Riley Edsel Huey. Now Edsel is JT's brother, you know. Now, Edsel lives down in Ropesville, Texas, and that's where I was born. That's where our farm was. And Uncle Edsel, the poor guy, he could never say yes or no to a question, you know. Uncle Edsel's answer was always, that just kind of depends. Now, late one evening, about dark, the telephone rang. And Uncle Edsel went to the phone, and there was this feller on the other end that said, Edsel, I'd like to know what you'd take for that old black bull that's down in your pasture. And Edsel, not being able to answer yes or no, said, well, now that just kind of depends. Just gave his old answer, you know. And the man at the other end of the telephone said, well, now it depends on what? And Uncle Edsel said, well, then the price of my bull depends on whether or not your Internal Revenue Service or my bull has done been hit by a train. Now, I want to tell you a story about my Uncle J.T. Now, Uncle J.T. lives in East Texas in a little town called Blossom. But now, J.T. had these here hogs. And this was my first encounter with the Arkansas-type Razorback hog. Now, back in them days, J.T. and them, they didn't keep their hogs up. They just let them run out, you know, down in the river bottom. And they fared pretty well, eating acorns and switch cane and all. And while we was visiting there, it seemed like they was having an awful lot of trouble with their hogs dying. So now my daddy Clarence is a big West Texas farmer, and Papa and J.T. always recognized Clarence as being that, and liked for his advice, you know. And I remember J.T. saying, "Now Clarence, we're having an awful trouble with our hogs dying. What do you think we could do?" And Daddy, knowing government men and all, he said, we ought to call one of them there government men out of Paris to come out here and look at your hogs. And the man came, you know, he came from Paris, and he did. He spent about 3 days down in the river bottom observing them there hogs, crawling down in the mud and trying to watch them and all to see what kind of problem it was, you know. And, I'll tell you, I thought maybe that Uncle J.T. knew just about as much as he did. I didn't know. But after 3 days, he called a meeting of all the farmers in the county, and not just our family, but all of them, and began to explain to them what he thought was happening to the hogs. Now, this being one of the wet years, and the hogs are running out down in the river bottom, their old long tails is dragging in the mud. And they've been dragging them for so long, it's caused mud balls to start building up on the ends of their tails. Now these balls of mud would get bigger and bigger and bigger, you know, and he found some hogs that had mud balls on the end of their tails that were dragging, you know, they were dragging mud balls as big as basketballs, you know. So this dear government man, his conclusion was this. He said, now these here hogs have been walking down in this river bottom for so long in this mud, and these balls of mud have built up so big that it stretched their skins so tight that they couldn't close their eyes, and then they've all died from lack of sleep.